What if everything we've been told about autoimmunity is wrong? I'm Elizabeth Yarnell. After awakening partially blind one morning in 1999, a doctor told me my multiple sclerosis would put me in a wheelchair within 10 years. I refused to accept that as the end of the story, so I started investigating. Welcome to the Inflammation Investigator, the podcast that uncovers the inflammation lurking underneath your ailments. Because autoimmune and chronic conditions should not be viewed as death knells when they are actually alarm bells. I'm a traditional naturopath and founder of the Inflammation Academy. And in 2 episodes every week, we dig into what conventional medicine might be missing. If you're living with chronic or unexplained symptoms, this investigation is for you. Your body has been trying to tell you something. Let's start listening. In the last episode, we talked about the limoncello incident. This is famous in my life for teaching me new ways to look for hidden triggers that are causing inflammation in my body. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about mindset. And don't forget, I will be reading. Mindset is key. Here's the truth. Only you can choose to reclaim your health. What are you getting out of being afflicted? Are you excused from tasks, jobs, or appearances? Are you catered to because you can't or because you won't take care of yourself? Are you marinating in lowered expectations? Be honest with yourself, if not with anyone else. If it means more accountability, more responsibility, and more adulting, do you truly want to feel better? Do you want more independence and less dependence on others? No shade here. You have to want to feel better, to save yourself, and not everyone does. Some people are content to wallow in pain and depression without exploring any pathways out of their morass. I feel badly for them that they are stuck in a bad place, but I can't save them. I can only save myself, and then share what I learned in the process and hope to inspire others to save themselves too. Staying out of a wheelchair has been a driving motivation for me ever since I was diagnosed with MS. Not to be discriminatory, but I think about that wheelchair every time I reach for something to eat, select a personal care product to put on my body, or purchase a product to clean my house. I even have a wheelchair charm from my charm bracelet. I think about the wheelchair because it reminds me of the consequences of each and every choice and how dire they could be for my future. Most people eat dozens, if not hundreds, of individual ingredients every day, and identifying which among the many might be triggering inflammation can indeed be challenging. But by making the effort, hypersensitive people like those who have MS or other chronic conditions can gain some control over how they feel. It's worth doing the detective work, for if we can identify those triggers of inflammation, we can consciously act to reduce our exposure in the same manner that celiac sufferers make it a life choice to actively avoid gluten. Rather than trying to relieve symptoms that already exist, shouldn't the goal be to prevent the symptoms from appearing in the first place? My neurologist dad says that the brain is remarkable in its ability to adapt and change and heal itself. As we've discussed,
Neurologists call this phenomenon neuroplasticity. Remember that neuroplasticity essentially means that the brain is able to create new neural pathways to replace ones damaged by injury or inflammation. In other words, it's possible for the brain to reroute signals to go around scar tissue and thus reestablish motor or sensory functions. My father has witnessed amazing cases of brain regeneration and neural recovery during his more than 50 years of practicing neurology. The brain wants to heal itself, but bodies can only heal in the absence of inflammation. Alas, it is easy to thwart the body's efforts to heal itself by not paying attention to what we, as hypersensitive people, put into our bodies. But it is not that difficult to start creating a life solution that will work with the body rather than against it. It will take some effort. No one is saying these efforts will be easy. But remember that wheelchair? At the end of the day, it is up to each of us to do our own detective work to identify and remove our own inflammatory triggers in order to give our brain and body the best chance to heal and thrive. When I work with people in my clinic and online community, the Inflammation Academy, one of the first things I do is I ask them to explain their motivation for wanting to change. Sometimes it's avoiding the wheelchair, as it is for me. But it could be as personal as dancing at my daughter's wedding, or making sure I can be an active parent for my child, or not wanting to be a burden on my spouse. But whatever your personal driver, we each experience chronic symptoms that have landed us here in the realm of the autoimmune. Whether constant, persistent, or sporadic, the symptoms are clues of inflammation. While it will take some sleuthing to determine the exact triggers causing our symptoms, the first action step is to start reading labels. You may be surprised to learn what is inside your familiar foods and drinks that could be keeping you in a disabled state. My client Cheryl shares that she used to have stomach aches all the time, and it turns out that she was very highly reactive to wheat, which, as she says in her own words, was her favorite food group of cookies and sandwiches. She says she also had a lot of phlegm and clearing of her throat because she was very reactive to cow dairy. She wasn't sleeping very well, but once she changed her diet with a targeted dietary plan, all that changed. She says, I've learned to like new foods that I never would have thought of trying before. Tune in to the next episode where we go through a case study of one of my clients who went from a wheelchair to a walking professional. Tune in then.
And that's another case filed on the Inflammation Investigator. Remember, every symptom is your body's way of communicating. We just need to learn the language. If today's episode sparked something for you, I want to hear about it. Share your own investigation discoveries with me on social media at Elizabeth Yarnell, or find me at elizabethyarnell.com. Your experience could be exactly what another listener needs to hear. And make sure you're subscribed so you never miss an episode. And here's the thing about investigations. They work best when you're not going it alone. If this podcast is helping you uncover the answers you've been searching for, please like, rate, subscribe, and review. and share it with someone who needs to hear this message. As a new podcast, these actions mean more than you know. Want to dive deeper into your own inflammation investigation? Head over to inflammationinvestigator.com, where you can take my free inflammation quiz to uncover which hidden triggers might be affecting your health. Until next time, this is Elizabeth Yarnell, your inflammation investigator, reminding you that the solutions to your health issues are out there. Let's find them together.